Good Monday morning. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Carlene Bragg is here. She's off mic right now trying to fix some things. You know how it is. It's Monday. Is that there we go. Oh, there. Too bright?
Yeah.
Carlene is our producer, IT, maintenance. Like, Carlene does it all. Shout out. Say anchor. Carlene, there you go. That's my light. We were trying to figure out the lighting situation. We do things in real time.
There's a lot of switches.
We do
a lot of switches in this room. I don't know what switch goes to what light.
We do a lot of things in real time here on Live Impact News. I feel like we do a lot more in real time when I'm here. I don't know. Maybe because I talk through. Maybe I just talk through things with you guys. I don't know. Okay. All right. Let's start with this. I want to start with this.
Okay.
I want to give props to Majestic Store.
Wow.
He's
never done that before. He's never started out the show like that.
I'm leading with love because Friday we got the forecast. And I said, hey, I'm going to be throwing out the first pitch at the Carolinas Metro Reds opening day. It's going to be in the morning. And you said, hey, you might want to wear a jacket. No, you might want to wear a hoodie and a jacket. You know what? You might want to wear a beanie.
Yes, I did.
I did all three. And I'm glad I did. So thank you, Majestic. I appreciate that.
Did it help?
It did.
Good.
It did. But it was so cold.
Yeah, it was cold. It was a wind. I feel like when I was outside for a little bit, it was a wind for the first half of the day, and then it got a little bit better. And then yesterday was gorgeous, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And not too bad.
Yesterday morning was a little nippy.
Oh, yeah, those 30s. I told you.
Yeah, I still think because I had to run on Saturday morning. Oh, I didn't have to run, but I ran on Saturday morning. I almost blew away.
Yeah.
I almost blew away.
My.
It was windy.
You almost blew away.
Yeah.
Windy.
Did you go running this weekend?
Oh, heavens, no. I did not run. I was in Charleston, and they did the Cooper River Bridge run, and I felt bad for those people. Those poor people on that bridge.
On that bridge,
wind was whipping right there on the water. I'm like.
Do you ever imagine sometimes, like, is this wind really going to lift me? Could you imagine?
I know.
I felt like it was.
Wouldn't that be kind of scary?
Maybe I was just tired.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Are we at the point? Are we headed to the point where it's just gonna be warm and we don't have to worry about switching clothes and taking off jackets and fleeces and
Sweaters.
hoodies and wearing
I think
these?
still a couple layers here and there, especially
I
in the
can do
morning time. Today still, we're starting out the week nice. We have 80s on the way. Not today, but in the next few days. But let's just break everything down because we're watching a lot of different things. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Yesterday was actually gorgeous. We had a lot of sunshine. At least the wind wasn't so bad on Sunday compared to Saturday. But you can see this is live now this morning coming in from Lake Norman. Temperatures this morning, they weren't terrible. We're starting to see more mild conditions. Many of us woke up to right around upper 40s, low 50s this morning. You can still see some cloud coverage lingering, so gradually clearing skies is what you should plan for. We woke up to mainly cloudy skies, and then I'm calling for partly sunny conditions this afternoon. It is going to be warm and dry for the first several days of our work week. Plan for mid-70s today, then we're talking about 80s returning. It's going to feel sunny and warm. Very nice, like what I know many of you enjoy. And then by the end of the week, we are watching a system that could bring in some scattered rain showers, possibly a few storms, and unfortunately, that takes us straight into our Easter weekend forecast. We'll get to that, but I do want to let you know that the the burn ban, it's still in place. I mean, over the weekend, it was for all of North and South Carolina. At this point, South Carolina did lift theirs at 7 o'clock this morning. Still North Carolina, the entire state, still under that burn ban. So no burning, everything's still very, very dry. Still, if a fire was to start, it'd be really hard to contain, especially if we have any amount of wind, just because of how dry everything is on the ground. Sunrise this morning was at 7:13. Sunset tonight, not until 7:44. Like to see those later sunsets. That should be nice. And hey, we're heading into the last few days of March. So we're going to be wrapping up the month of March with warm, above average temperatures. And then some changes will arrive as we're heading into April. Right now, though, 57 degrees in Charlotte. Down across Chester, planned for right around mid-50s. So we're seeing 50s really right across the board. None of us seeing temperatures below that. So mild to get us started. Yesterday we topped off at 66 degrees. So right around our seasonal average. So it should have felt like a typical late March day. Today we're going to turn up the heat, mid-70s. So sunshine, 75 degrees for a Monday forecast. That's always helpful when we're starting our new week and we know at least it's going to be nice and at least it's going to be warm. And I know it's a little deceiving still. You look outside and there's still quite a bit of cloud coverage out there. You can see it coming in all around from Monroe to Dallas. Still some clouds lingering here in Charlotte, and then Lake Norman starting to clear out nicely. And that'll be the general trend throughout the day, with those clouds becoming less and less. Still a little cloud coverage though as you head into the afternoon, but you will have some sunshine. Plus 75 degrees. Little breezy still here and there by mid-morning, early afternoon. We'll see an occasional wind gust up to around 20 miles an hour moving in from the south and the west. Remember, when we have that wind direction, that helps to push in the warmer air to the south of us, and that's why those temperatures warm up really nicely. Again, right in the mid-50s this morning with more clouds. Notice so by about 3, 4, 5 o'clock, by the time you may be picking up kiddos after school or driving home from work, conditions are going to get better. So right around mid-70s for our daytime highs today with partly sunny skies, and then staying really mild overnight. Let's take you up into the mountains. 65 degrees for your high temperature there in Boone, 65 there in Fleetwood, 64 there in Blowing Rock. As we're looking down to the south, this is out there in the foothills today, 75 degrees in Morganton, 73 in Hickory. So for the most part, our Monday is going to bring a lot of 70s, and most people really love 70-degree temperatures because it's not too hot, it's not too cool, it's very comfortable. So might be a good day to even take your lunch outside and have some lunch outdoors and get some fresh air. 75 in Shelby today, and that'll be your high temperature there in Gastonia. 74 in Lancaster, and then 77 as we're looking towards Chesterfield. So nice, comfortable day today. Overnight lows tonight. Plan for upper 50s. We're going to be waking up to almost 60-degree temperatures tomorrow, so comfortable start to our Tuesday, and then tomorrow's forecast will get even warmer. So we'll see for our Tuesday, 82 degrees for our high. By Wednesday, 85 degrees. That's near record warmth. So we'll be into the 80s from Wednesday all the way through Saturday. By Sunday, we do start to see some changes on the way. Cooler temperatures, and then next week we're back into the 60s. Let's talk about those rain chances because we're dry today and tomorrow. Wednesday we have a very small isolated chance, but we're watching Friday night and into Saturday for another system system that pushes through. At this point, none of it seems widespread, but again, this is going to be our Easter weekend that's upcoming. Lots of Easter egg hunts, I'm sure, that'll be ongoing Saturday and Sunday. And right now, our highest totals for rain is on Easter Sunday. A lot of our models are indicating that this could actually take a little longer to get to our area, so it could be later in the day on Sunday instead of Sunday morning. So if you're heading out to church, or you want to go to brunch, or you want to do something special with your family on Easter Sunday, a lot of our models are showing that this could be a late day Sunday event. Leading up to it, though, really it's all about the warmer conditions that we get to enjoy for the next few days. 75 degrees today, partly sunny skies, again back into the 80s as soon as tomorrow, Wednesday, 85 degrees, so very pleasant conditions. Still, the pollen is out there, still we're right around that peak, but as we're heading into the first couple of weeks of April, still plan to see a lot of that yellow around. But the worst of it, I think we're really right in the thick of things. Last week we really peaked, and then really we're right around those same numbers now today. And then our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast, our average high 68 degrees today, some sunshine, mid-70s this afternoon. It's going to be really pleasant. And then again, it's all about the 80s from Tuesday through Friday. On Wednesday, could we have a couple of raindrops? We could. It's only about a 20% chance, though, so no big deal. I know a lot of people definitely have their eyes on the weekend forecast with the holiday weekend coming up. Friday, 80 degrees. That system likely late in the day on Friday. Saturday looks nearly perfect for the Charlotte FC game, a high of 81 degrees. Will start out into the low 60s. And then for Easter Sunday, 64 to start out, so mild, and hoping, and at this point, this is what models are saying, is for the first part of our Sunday, it's going to be a little cloudy, but it stays dry, and then rain showers start to move in by Sunday afternoon and evening. But again, with this many days out, we just have to watch the speed of this cold front that's going to bring in some wet weather. We'll have to see if it holds together. Of course, a lot of things can change, but as of now, seems like we have a couple of good opportunities for rain showers. Just unfortunately, it's coming on Sunday, which, you know, it's Easter Sunday. Families want to get together. They want to do things together, and oftentimes they want to spend some time outside.
But you know, I'll take it because we really need the rain. So
We do. Yeah.
It's like, I mean, if Easter's our best shot of getting rain, then
It is what it is.
I'll take it.
Yes.
I'll take it.
April showers brings.
Mayflowers.
There you go. We need that.
I knew that
Both of those. Although I did see my neighbor had tulips on her doorstep the other day. I'm like, that's nice.
Aw.
Yeah, everyone's planting. I need to start planting
Yeah.
soon. I guess we're supposed to wait until April, officially tax day.
Yeah.
But I'm a little
That's a long
antsy.
time.
I love flowers and
know.
I love all the things, but you know, tax day is the official day where we should be good.
It seems like forever from now. It seems like it. I mean, April 15th will be here before you know it.
Yeah.
but
A
still.
couple weeks.
But I want to get my indoor plants
Yeah.
outside and put them on our. But I try to wait because I know I'm gonna forget
I
one
know.
day, and then
I know.
all that effort.
Especially
for
with
nothing.
the 80 degrees,
Yeah.
70-degree weather. All right, okay. That's
All
still,
right.
oh yeah, and selfishly, I want the rain to wash away all this pollen because I just feel like I told you
Yeah.
I felt like a clown washing my car, and then it
The
just-
next day.
Next day, I
Yes.
mean, the tires were still nice, but
Yeah.
We do. We need like a good soaking to like rinse everything off.
rinse
Like
everything.
everything needs a good washing, I
Yeah.
feel like.
Like I'm
Yeah.
tired of cleaning my balcony because
Yeah.
it's I'm like, I just gave up
Yeah.
on it. I gave up
Yeah.
on it. I'm like, well, until we get some rain, I give up on it.
Yeah.
So
Tired of it. I'm tired of I have to wipe Turkey down every time we come back in from
Yeah,
a
but I'm
walk
tired of
because
it.
he just
Yeah.
it's pollen
gets so
soaked.
much pollen on him because he's low to the ground
That's
and he
so
loves
true.
tall grass.
Yeah.
So
That's so
like I
true.
have to wipe it down every single time, and like it's a whole process. You gotta take the thing. I'm ready for that to be over.
Yeah. Me
Yeah.
too.
Welcome
Me
to
too.
springtime
Welcome to spring.
in North Carolina.
It is a beautiful spring though here.
It is,
I
it
will
is.
say it's a beautiful spot for spring.
Majestic Storm. Thank you again, and thank you
course.
for the good advice Friday. I'll give you your props again. Shout out to
No
you again.
problem.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturterman. So we want to take sort of a look across the nation at our airports being one of the biggest topics over the last month or so, because we've seen those long TSA lines, folks, even in Houston, outside, eventually making their way indoors. This is a live look at Houston right there as folks. That's a look at it looks like the Spirit Airlines, their counter right there.
They're going outside.
They're going out.
That's all the way outside.
It's a long line. That is a long line. TSA agents expected to get a paycheck today after President Donald Trump signed that executive order to pay TSA agents. So that's a look at Houston. We want to go over to Raleigh, a lot closer to home, because we had some breaking news overnight.
Sorry, the shot's boring.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And I accidentally switched the shot on you.
Okay.
Here's the shot right here. This is the shot we have. So I want to read you a little bit from WRAL, their website. So travelers at Raleigh-Durham International Airport enduring long lines Monday morning, hours after Terminal 1 was evacuated due to an anonymous threat. The threat was made just before 4:30 a.m., leading to the evacuation. Now, that was according to a spokesperson from RDU. Hundreds of people waited outside for just over an hour before the all clear for RDU employees to re-enter the building just before 6 a.m. And so that is the situation, and that was the situation there. We'll continue to keep our eye there on RDU, Raleigh-Durham International Airport. The airport sits, just for reference, it's between Raleigh and Durham. It sits more Mooresville, that airport there. But
I've never flown out of Raleigh.
Usually pretty quick. It's obviously an international airport, but
sure.
Usually it's pretty. Usually you can get through security pretty quickly there at RDU. So I know a lot of folks, but it does get busy early in the morning. It gets really, really busy. But
Monday morning.
But TSA, the workers there, did a really good job of moving people through that airport. So I'm sure there are a lot of folks confused, asking questions as they dealt with that threat there at the airport. All right, and that's
Alice Barr's package.
Okay. Well, hey, look, showing you how the sausage is made.
That's right.
All right, day 45 of the record-setting partial government shutdown, as negotiations to reopen the Department of Homeland Security were dealt a major setback on Friday. We updated you here on Live Impact News on Friday on those negotiations. Now, when House Republicans rejected a Senate-passed bill and voted instead for short-term funding that will hit a dead end in the Senate, the impasse comes as patients at America's airports wearing thin. Here's NBC's Alice Barr with the latest from D.C.
This morning, lingering delays at airports.
Throughout the day, I can see it probably, getting longer and more stressful for people.
Mirroring the holdup on Capitol Hill, where lawmakers left town on Friday without a deal to fund the Department of Homeland Security. Now on day 45, the longest partial government shutdown on record. That despite the Senate unanimously passing funding for all of DHS except ICE and Border Patrol.
Let's fund everybody else and let's deal with this thorny issue about ICE. And then you had the Republican House say, hell no, we're not doing that.
House Republicans chose not to vote on the Senate-passed bill, instead passing a short-term measure that includes immigration enforcement, adamant that must be funded now.
This is a dangerous time and we need full Homeland Security.
That House bill a no-go in the Senate. But despite the impasse, TSA agents, who called out Friday in record numbers, may start receiving back pay as soon as today or tomorrow through an order signed by President Trump.
Well, we're going to pay him for as long as we have to.
While the president's border czar suggested ICE agents may stay on to move airport security lines even after TSA pay resumes.
It depends how many TSA agents come back to work, how many TSA agents have actually quit and have no plan coming back to work.
The Senate's top Republican told members he is working with Democrats to search for a solution, according to a source familiar with negotiations, though he emphasized ICE and Border Patrol remain the sticking point without the reforms Democrats are demanding. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
All right, so that was Alice Barr with the latest there from Washington, D.C. Let's head to break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. All right, so this morning we heard from Governor Maura Healey, the governor of Massachusetts, announcing summer savings for MBTA commuter rail riders. So let's take a listen into that press conference.
By making transportation more affordable. We want to make things easier and more affordable for everyone. So we're here today to announce that this summer your commute will be more affordable and you'll have cheaper options for fun. Here's what we're going to be doing for June, July, and August. All Fridays are going to be free on the commuter rail. No charge on the commuter rail. The entire system across all lines are free on Friday. Monthly passes will be discounted 50%. Okay, commuter rail passes discounted 50%. And weekends, we're going to expand. If you have a monthly pass that allows you to go during the week, you can use that for free over the weekend. And the last thing that we're doing is weekend companion passes. If you are a commuter rail monthly pass holder, you can bring, on the weekends, you can bring another person with you for $1, and remember, kids under 11 ride free. So these are all things that we're really happy to do for this summer to make your commute easier, to make it more affordable, and to also help people better enjoy all the great things that are going to be going on across Massachusetts all summer long. We want to give people a break from high costs, especially during this time when gas prices are high. It's also about building on the historic turnaround we've had at the T. Because of the changes at the T to the system, we're able to provide these services today. And I want to thank Phil Ang and the team. Remember, after I hired Phil Ang, we hired 1,500 workers. We got the long-term funding in place that was missing, including an $8 billion plan that's improving the T, the commuter rail, our roads and bridges. Our slow zones went from 200 down to 0. Our expanded commuter rail service was up with new lines opening to Fall River and New Bedford. We upgraded stations and more. We also have contactless payment. That was the new app created at MBTA Go, so it's a great thing. Also fare-free buses, on our regional transit authorities. And what we've seen as a result is that we've brought commuter rail ridership back to pre-pandemic levels faster than any system in the country, and I'm proud of that. Our system came back faster than any system in the country, more people riding it. We finally have affordable, reliable public transit in America's first state for public transit. And this summer, it's more affordable and accessible than ever. Cutting costs has been my priority. This is about making the T and transportation more affordable for people. It's about making it easier for people, and it's about making it possible for more people to use the T and public transportation and the commuter rail to take in events which are happening this summer, which are super exciting, between Tall Ships, World Cup, and MA250, as well as get back and forth too to work and where they need to go. So proud to be able to deliver this kind of service and make life a little easier and a little cheaper for folks out there. I'll now turn it over to Lieutenant Governor Driscoll.
Thank you, Governor. It's great to be here this morning and celebrate what we know is an important service for everyday riders, and certainly be even more important this summer with all the busy activity that's happening. So pleased to be joined by Phil Ang, by members of the MBTA board and former colleagues, as we talk about how we're going to make it easier to get folks around and use the commuter rail. I hail from Salem. Salem is the busiest stop in the commuter rail system, and we do this little thing every October that relies on commuter rail in order to get people to and from our community. When you come from a city that has such a high commuter rail usage, you know the importance of it. Between trains and ferries, we're really going to make it easier to get around, to come visit Boston, to come here for any of the sporting events. Between the Bruins, the Celtics, the Red Sox, we know people rely on the commuter rail system to get to those events. And then even this summer, with all the activity we're happening, we know it's going to be even more important to have this commuter rail not only functioning, but functioning well. One of the things that's great about the discounts and the promotions the governor was just talking about to make things more affordable this summer is it's really helping our everyday commuter rail riders. Folks who have their monthly pass are now going to be able to enjoy additional discounts. That's going to help local businesses. Folks who might be wanting to go to Salem or go to New Bedford, we are both just there. We know there's lots to see and do. Creating an itinerary so you can plan on how you're going to use the commuter rail and enjoy these reduced costs. And most importantly, you're able to do so without jamming up city streets when you're taking the commuter rail. We know what it is to depend on the commuter rail. We're so grateful to have Phil and the team who've worked so hard to make sure that service is going to be robust. And you won't find bigger train fans than these folks right here who understand the value of making these investments that we've been able to do. So monthly pass holders are now going to have a number of discounts, and I'm really grateful that we're focusing on weekend and group trips and ways that families can plan to have an outing right here in Massachusetts. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to the TGM and our interim secretary, Phil Ang, to share more. You're competing with your own.
Yes. Love those announcements, don't we? Thank you, Governor. Thank you, LG. Over the last 3 years under this administration, we have been rebuilding the transit system. And we're talking about not only making it safer, more reliable, more robust, we want to make it more affordable, and we want to make it the preferred choice of travel. So over these last few years, we've been doing a tremendous amount of work to do just that. Thanks to the legislature for continuing to support our needs, to our board, to Keolis, the operator of the commuter rail, and to all of the riders that use the system and rely on the system. As the governor mentioned, there are a lot of exciting events taking place across the Commonwealth this summer, and we want riders from all over the MBTA areas furthest connected, such as Worcester, South Coast Region, Lowell, Rockport, to be able to get to where they want to this summer, knowing there's so much to see and do. So we want to first thank our loyal commuter rail riders who rely on us every week, every day, by giving them the opportunity to share the experience with their friends and their family at a discounted rate. We also want to thank riders in advance for their patience as we continue to improve our tracks and deliver historical levels of service for this summer and during the World Cup. And as Governor Healy mentioned, we're offering 4 special discounts this summer, June through August, on the commuter rail zones 1 through 10. So, worth repeating, on free summer Fridays across the commuter rail, all regular non-event commuter rail services will be free on all Fridays in June, July, and August, including Juneteenth and July 3rd. We'll also be offering 50% discounts on monthly commuter rail passes for June, July, and August as well, zones 1 through 10, and commuter ferry passes. The riders who purchase passes June through August will save hundreds of dollars. We see this as an opportunity to allow people to try the commuter rail and to see all that Massachusetts has to offer. And then our monthly commuter rail pass holders get an expanded weekend zone access, meaning you could be in zone 2, but you'll be able to travel to zone 10. That'll be for the weekends, and that allows more freedom and more value for that monthly pass. And then lastly, if you're a monthly commuter rail pass holder, you can bring a companion on the weekends for $1, a summer companion pass. Commuter rail pass holders may bring just that extra person. It's limited to one single companion, but we also remind everyone that children 11 and under will always ride free with their guardian. So this is just a great way for the entire family to get out and use the train, get off the roads. Lastly, regular fares will be in place for Boston Stadium trains, the Cape Flyer, and any other special event trains to Foxborough, and discounts do not apply to Zone 1A. So, for more detailed information, visit mbta.com. We know riders are looking for consistent, reliable, safe, all affordable, all-day service, which is exactly what we're looking to deliver. So in addition to the 4 summer special discounts, including free commuter rail Fridays, we will keep offering the $10 unlimited commuter rail weekend pass, which allows riders to use the commuter rail all weekend long, as many trips as they want to take along that weekend. And commuter rail riders have helped the T, as the governor said, strongest return to ridership across the nation. This is just a way to say thank you and to look to encourage more and more people to keep using the transit system. We want to keep up the momentum for this summer. On behalf of MassDOT and the MBTA, we're looking forward to connecting the Commonwealth and delivering a great transportation experience for all of our visitors and our residents this summer. And I think with that, we'll take on-topic questions. A couple of things about that information. We have not finalized the price yet, but there's some things that are important to note. That event train pass will be more than our normal regular train pass, but it's also a much more robust pass, because what we know is that people that want to visit for the World Cup, where they stay is going to be important to them. They may want to stay with family, they may want to stay with friends, so they may not be right here in Boston, they not be in Foxborough, they may be in Rockport, they may be further west in Pittsfield, in that area. What we want to be able to do is to say, this event pass is an all-day commuter rail, all-system pass, meaning you not only get round trip to the game, you get the whole day to use the commuter rail no matter where you want to stay in the Commonwealth. So there's a lot more value to it. The pricing will be shortly decided and shared publicly early April. I'm saying we haven't finalized the reports. It will be more than our normal pricing. Well, the value of the summer program discounts is about $9 million. That is in our budget. That was planned for. So we are anticipating to be able to cover all of those costs. Having said that, we also know the value of encouraging new ridership and our existing ridership. This is a way to say thank you. We are, as I mentioned, the strongest return to ridership in commuter rail, and that's what's keeping us going. We fully expect that not only will this allow people to travel the Commonwealth and help the economy, help jobs, help businesses, but it also allow us to attract new riders in the long term and keep our riders that we have today. So we see this as a win-win.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, good.
All right, so that was Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey, along with officials there, talking about savings coming up this summer for commuter rail riders. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturdivant. Let's talk about Artemis 2. Man, we've been talking about this, the build-up. A lot of folks are excited. So the teams at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida are making those final preparations toward beginning launch countdown activities for Artemis 2 mission. This is a live look there from Kennedy Space Center there in Florida as we prepare for that launch that is set as early as Wednesday, April 1st. April Fool's Day, but there's no Fool's
that we know of yet.
I was trying to twist those words around, but I didn't do a great job at that. But look, April 1st, that's what the expected launch day is. Countdown on. we heard from crew members yesterday as they are in quarantine. They are preparing for the expected launch date. Let's listen to them in case you missed it yesterday.
You're looking live at Launch Pad 39B, where in just a few days, NASA's Artemis II crew will lift off to begin their journey around the moon. Good morning and welcome to NASA's Kennedy Space Center for our Artemis II crew news conference. The crew is joining us virtually today from astronaut crew quarters, and we'll begin taking questions shortly. But before we get started, I'll toss it over to the crew for some opening remarks. Reed, take us away.
Thanks, Courtney. It's great to hear your voice. Great to see the rocket on the television. I know we're here at the Kennedy Space Center, and every chance we can, we're going out to Pad 39B and just looking at that amazing vehicle that this incredible team has put together. I'll hand it over to Victor.
Good morning. It's great to see you virtually, and looking forward to answering all your questions.
Good morning, everyone. Things are certainly starting to feel real here at the Cape. Our families joined us yesterday, and we had a chance to be on the pre-test brief for the actual starting of the launch countdown. So we're excited to be a part of all that, and we're excited to share with you today.
It's a really cool feeling right now. We're just down the hall, our spacesuits. Since we got here, we've done a dress rehearsal, if you will, getting into the suits. And with the families arriving yesterday, pretty special to take them out to the pad, show them the rock in the daylight, and then again, all lit up in its spectacular beauty at night. So back to you, Courtney.
Thank you all. We'll go ahead and begin our Q&A portion of this news conference. Our first question comes from Irene Klotz with Aviation Week. Irene, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
Hi, can you hear me now?
We have you loud and clear.
Great, thank you. My question is for Reed and Victor. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think either one of you had an opportunity to do any manual flying on your Soyuz and Dragon flights, respectively. And I wanted to just ask a little bit about the Proxox demo that you're going to be doing. If you can describe in some detail who is going to be doing what part of that exercise and what you are expecting the manual control of Orion to be like. Thanks.
Well, I'll answer the first part of that with, on the Soyuz, we have to do a hand controller checkout and a thruster checkout when we first get to space, and the Russian commander always does that from the center seat. But in the left seat, I was right next to our translational hand controller by my right knee, and Max Sarayev looked over at me and winked and was like, go ahead and just give it a tap. So I have flown a spaceship manually, and I can tell you it's pretty awesome. Victor, talk about our pod.
It's actually a really important evolution. You know, we have to make sure that the Artemis 3 and 4 missions have this capability, and so we are essentially going to make sure that the vehicle flies the way that we think it does, that we designed it to do. And so we're going to not only fly the vehicle manually, we're going to execute the 6 degrees of freedom, so translating forward, backwards, left, right, up, and down, and then also being able to rotate, pitch, yaw, roll, and pitch on roll. But we also want to give qualitative and quantitative feedback to the ground team, so letting them know what it feels like now that we can hear and feel the thrusters, and to just understand the human experience. And so one really interesting thing that's going to happen during the proximity operations demo, where we're going to start out probably beyond 100 meters and get all the way in as close as 10 meters at some points in the demo, is to give them feedback, so verbal feedback. And so we're actually going to switch seats. Reed is going to launch in seat 1, I'm going to launch in seat 2, but we're going to take our suits off, and then we're going to get back into each other's seats, and he's going to run the procedure while I fly the vehicle primarily. But I'm also going to put my communication system, actually his communication system, on voice activation, so I can just talk to the ground continuously, and so the ground team can hear from the crew. It's really a crew experience to fly that vehicle, but to give them feedback on essentially, hey, this flies like the simulator, or this is how it's very different from the simulator, so that we can verify and validate the models for training the later crews.
I want to add one thing. I just want to add to the end of that is it is Victor in C1 and I will be in C2, but this is a crew activity through and through. And so Christina will be floating right to Ike's left, to Victor's left. She is really in charge of the timing discipline and the procedural discipline, maintaining the big picture to make sure we get through this safe. And if we have any off-nominal, she is right there with all of our off-nominal steps to get us back on track. And then Jeremy will be floating just to my right, and he is always watching the interim cryogenic propulsion stage. If anything goes wrong with that stage out the window or on the displays, he's ready to call it back away and get us back into a safe configuration. So it's all four of us at the controls for that evolution.
I have one more thing. And, grab the wrong mic. But I wanted to add that, of course, ProxOps is really exciting because we are practicing the rendezvous. We get within 10 meters of our upper stage rocket. It's amazing. But there will be another activity where we manually pilot the vehicle on one of our cruise days, so you can stay tuned for that as well.
Okay, our next question is from Bill Harwood with CBS News.
Hey guys, it's great to see you all again. Take care, speaker. It's great to see you again. My question is absolutely non-technical. You know, the other night I was picking up some takeout food from Tai Tai in Cape Canaveral, and it was a crystal clear night, and I was looking up at the moon, and I don't normally think this way. I don't like the moon. I'm an amateur astronomer. I like it out of the sky so I can see the dim stuff. But I kept thinking about you guys saying, I couldn't imagine actually going there. You know, I was trying to picture that in my mind as I was looking at the moon. So I hate to make this a long question, but I mean, could a couple of you just talk about it? You're bound to do the same thing, look up and have some thoughts. What are your thoughts as people who see the moon as a destination, not just a bright globe in the sky? Thanks.
So yesterday we spent some time with our geology team lead, Kelsey, just going over the plan, and depending on which launch day we launch in this window, you know, how that changes. But looking at some of the details that we're going to be examining and the things that they're interested in, specifically different colors or just different shades, variations in the albedo of the moon. They're very interested. We look at it from different angles and different lighting, and so we look at it with sort of under this microscope all the time, and then every once in a while I step back sort of like you did last night and just look at it, and I really feel like, gosh, that is really far away, and it just gives me great appreciation for it. And in the night sky, I've spent a lot more time looking at it through binoculars in my backyard, sharing that with my family. We've got the binoculars here, and hopefully we'll get some clear skies. They weren't last night, but for us, but hopefully we'll get some clear skies and some good viewing. But the other thing we've focused on quite a bit of as a crew is just listening to other people's perspectives on the moon and how different cultures look at the moon. And when we go back, honoring just how humanity, we all share the same moon in the sky, but honoring humans around the world and how they revere the moon. That's really important to us.
One thing.
Yeah.
Bill, one of the things you said right at the end of your question was, how do we feel as the people that can call the moon the destination, a destination, not just something we're looking at? And it is our strong hope that this mission is the start of an era where every person on Earth can look at the moon and think of it as also a destination.
Our next question is from Jonathan Seary with Fox News.
Thank you so much for taking the time to the entire crew. This question is for anyone who'd like to talk about space medicine. What excites you most about what you'll be able to study beyond low Earth orbit, and how will it inform future deep space missions?
I'll start with, it's going to be a touch off topic, but the camera that Artemis 3 will take and Artemis 4 will take to the surface of the moon is going to be a Z9 by Nikon, and we fought pretty hard to get just that camera on board to see what is the radiation environment in deep space going to do to the sensors on that particular camera, so that we can learn about that. We have science experiments on board that are going to be looking at our own cells in our body and also on little test kits, so we'll be able to compare that when we get back. We have radiation sensors in the vehicle that are going to be monitoring the radiation environment for the entire ride out and back. And then we also are going to go into, most likely if we launch on the 1st or 2nd, we'll go into an eclipse period, which will be very stressing for the power and thermal systems on our spacecraft. There's not really a scientific benefit there, but it's a huge payoff to our modeling and what we're going to look at for Artemis 3 and 4. I'll see if anyone else wants to talk some of the details.
Just wanted to add that, one of the things that the future Artemis missions are going to do is actually to work on the surface of the moon. And so we also have a fantastic team of exercise folks and operational psychologists that we're going to get to talk to. And even though this mission is not going to the surface, we are starting some of the processes that we think are going to help them be successful physically, emotionally, and mentally in getting ready for service work.
Great.
Our next question is from Micah Maidenberg with the Wall Street Journal.
Hi, good morning all. Reed, I'd like to ask you to reflect a bit on your role as mission commander. I imagine you may have to make some final calls or tough calls during potentially challenging moments of this flight. Just talk about how you prepare for this job and that responsibility. Thank you so much.
I say it every time I get asked this question. I'm flying with Victor, Christine, and Jeremy. We have the best crew that you could put together from NASA and the Canadian Space Agency here. So we really have broken down the specifics of this mission across all four of us. There are times when I have responsibility. There is times when others have the direct responsibility. But at the end of the day, every ship needs a captain, and I'm ready to make those decisions. But I'm not making them in a vacuum. I can just watch my crewmates here. I know their facial expressions. They know mine. We know when we're tense. We know when an immediate decision needs to be made. But the biggest thing that we try to remind ourselves every single time we fly, we say, no fast hands in the cockpit. You do not want to do anything too quick in this vehicle. You need to take your time. You need to process everything. Almost always it pays bigger dividends to move forward than to go backwards. So no fast hands in the cockpit. We're going to go slow, and we have the ultimate trust in each other. And that's how we will get through this.
Our next question is from Ken Chang with the New York Times.
Hi, thank you. At the very top, Christine said it's beginning to feel real. For the first couple of sets of launch opportunities, you didn't even get down here. So I was wondering if you could sort of describe how you feel being quarantined at Kennedy, seeing a rocket on the launch pad, and the weather forecast looks good. It looks promising. Thank you.
It's great to be here. I think everyone in the crew office loves coming to Kennedy Space Center. It's kind of like, pilots love to be out at the airfield and see airplanes, and so a place where space missions start and some finish is a pretty special place. But it is also just neat to be here with this team that has really crushed it. The exploration ground systems, the folks that have gotten the vehicle ready and repaired the things that need fixing, and to watch them really maintain that schedule and to get that rocket into the VAB and back out to the pad. It's also good to be out here with them and to share some time with them. We spent a lot of time working with our team back in Houston, the flight control and engineering teams that have helped us analyze and proceduralize this mission. And so now it's cool to be out here with the team that's has been maintaining and preparing the rocket, and it's good to see it. And every day that we're here is the first time that we're doing this, and so we are exploring on this timeline as well, and it does feel good.
I want to add one thing. I want to add one quick thing to just remind everyone, this is a test flight. This is the first time we're going to try this. This is the first time we're loading humans on board, and I will tell you, the four of us, we are ready to go. The team is ready to go, and the vehicle is ready to go, but not for 1 second do we have an expectation that we are going. We will go when this vehicle tells us it's ready and when the team is ready to go. So we might go out to the pad and we might have to try again a few more times, and we are 100% ready for that.
Our next question is from Anthony Leone with Spectrum News.
Good morning. Thank you so much for taking our questions. There's so many firsts here for this mission. The first commander of a return manned mission to the moon, the first black man, the first woman, the first Canadian to visit the moon. What do these firsts mean to each of you?
It's a great question. It's one that we do think about it a lot.
All right, so that is the Artemis 2 crew there. They are getting ready for Wednesday's big launch day. We'll have it here on WCNC Plus. More coverage of the launch. That is a look at the bottom of your screen, a live look at Cape Canaveral, Florida, Kennedy Space Center. Let's take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we have a special interview. We're going to talk about the big Reed event coming up this Wednesday, but we'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sertivant. All right, so we got a big event coming up on Wednesday. I want to set up with this. It's nothing like getting a new book, or it doesn't have to be a new book, but a book that you've been waiting to get your hands on, flipping through the pages. I'm not a big tablet reader, right?
Right.
I'm not. I like the pages.
Yeah.
I like the, I earmark it. I don't even have I need to get more bookmarkers. I don't have a lot of bookmarkers.
I use a lot of sticky notes.
Yeah, sticky notes, but I love a good book. I'm always telling people I'm in between two books, which I really am. I'm in between two books right now. But I say all that to say, and it takes a long time.
It does.
To get between two books. I just can't stay focused on one book.
Same.
I'm rambling because I want to get to this. The Big Read is an annual literacy celebration that highlights the importance of reading with young children and the role books play in early brain development, language skills, and school readiness. The initiative also includes a community book drive to ensure Alliance Center students have access to high-quality books, both in the classroom and at home. I just mentioned the organization, but it's an organization here locally founded in 1940 that has served generations of families through early childhood education, literacy support, and pathways to opportunity. Here on the program, we have Jared Keaton, CEO of Alliance Center for Education, formerly known as the Bethlehem Center. They're having the event called The Big Read, as I just mentioned, where Congresswoman Alma Adams is going to read to the kids there on Wednesday. Mr. Keaton, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
I have to start here because this is a side point to where we are going to eventually land. You play football, man. I had to point that out, man. You played at Winston-Salem State.
I did.
Oh, okay.
Proud Ram.
Proud Ram. You were pretty good too.
I was pretty good. All CIAA.
See, but you're acting modest right now. But I had to point that out, man. Shout out 336. I'm from High Point, so had to shout out the 336.
Yes.
Talk about the work that you guys do, and because you do since 1940. Again, people know it. The Bethlehem Center rebranded, but talk about the work you guys do there.
Absolutely. So we start early. We've got kids as early as 6 months old in our early Head Start program. And that's really everything we do with those kids and with the older kids is 2 generational. So we work with the student during the day and provide a high quality education, and then work with mom and dad as well to make sure that they are striving for goals that they have set for themselves, and then incorporate them in what we do with the children. That program goes up to age 5, and then when they get in school, we have an after school program and a summer day camp. So it's out of school time. When school's out, we're in and supporting everything that goes on at school.
You're a busy man, CEO. That means a lot of things go through you. Best part about the job?
Best part about the job is everything I do is directed towards getting young people ready for their future. And so whether it's raising money or whether it's working to strategize on what's next for the community, it's all aimed at the most important citizens in Charlotte, and that's our young folks.
I mentioned this. I went on a little bit of a tangent about how I just love going through a book, filling the pages. Not really a tablet guy when it comes to reading, but I just love a physical copy of a book. To have an event like this, what does it mean for those kids, those families to have the Big Read?
It's a wonderful event. One is it gets community leaders in front of them to show them that everybody uses literacy in their work. So it's an inspiring event for the kids, but it's also an opportunity for us to collect books, not only for their classrooms in their preschools, but also in their homes. Having books in the home are one of the greatest indicators of kids being literate and also being successful overall in life.
Is it challenging to get kids to gravitate towards the books? Because, I mean, I feel like there's a generation, the kids you serve now, I mean, technology is king. I mean, you want to play the game? I get it. I get it. Trust me.
A lot of distractions.
A lot of distractions. But to get kids fascinated and really into the books, is that a challenge?
Well, we get them young.
Okay.
And so Read Aloud is a part of our everyday schedule with our infants and toddlers and our preschoolers. And then that's a part of our everyday afternoon activities with them when we have them in elementary school and middle school as well. So our kids, it's just ingrained in the part of their daily activities.
How does that translate to the parents? Because, you know, Unfortunately, there are some parents, man, that literacy rates are not where it should be. But having that influence of, okay, my kid has an assignment or my kid is reading, how does that influence the parents or motivate the parents?
Absolutely. It's a big motivator for them, because even though some of our parents may not be reading at the level they'd like, they know the importance of reading. And so that's part of one of the reasons why they trust us, is because we put such an emphasis on literacy.
Now I got to ask, what are you reading right now? I know you have a lot. You're a busy man. You're a busy man. You're CEO. You're the big dog. But what are you reading right now?
I am actually in between books. I'm getting ready to read one of Jason Wilson's, his latest novel.
Which one is it?
So this is the Comprehensive Man.
I just read that book. A 10 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great endorsement.
Yeah. You said you're in between. So that book, and is there another book that you're in between?
Last read, I'm trying to think, was a novel about some history about Charlotte, and it was written by a local author, and we were a part of that story in the Brooklyn community, and the evolution of Charlotte and its low-income citizens.
Oh, I gotta. What's the title of that book?
I'm trying to remember the title of the book, and
I'm gonna email Jay Hill. I'm gonna text Jay Hill, get a title, because I'm always looking for a good. Especially I love history. I'll share with you. I'm reading. I'm in between, and I'm a little ashamed to say, because I feel like I should have read this book a lot earlier, but Assata Shakur's autobiography, and The Upcycled Self by Black Thought. So I'm in between those two books right now.
Okay.
I was starting my morning with some Ta-Nehisi Coates. A little bit too deep for me in the morning, so that's more of a evening read. But I always feel like that's such a cool thing when you're able to ask folks what are they reading. And hopefully these young people are able to do that, because I feel like that at one point that was kind of lost. I don't know if you felt like that at all, where you ask somebody, what are you reading? And you have a conversation off of that.
Yeah, I don't usually ask that question. That's an interesting question. I think it says a lot about how people process what reading is for, and how it can enhance your life, especially as an adult. I think sometimes we think about reading from an instruction standpoint, but it's really an enriching opportunity, at least that I find. So I read a lot of nonfiction, a lot of history, and a lot of personal accounts of people's journeys is what interests me.
For a long time, I felt like it was a chore. My mom is more of a fiction. She loves fiction, right? And my mom could go through a 300-page, 200-page novel in a day if she could, right? She's just an avid reader. But for me, I was like, man, it just feels like a chore. And then I got into reading, and I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. And it's like, it is one of those things. It's I love nonfiction because of the going through somebody's personal journey. You can use those tools, and I never thought about it like that. When you approach it I can use that person's journey for my own life. Do you think about it like that at all when you're reading something like a nonfiction?
Absolutely. I do that intentionally. I've been in nonprofit work for 27 years.
Oh, wow.
And so it's really a part of just keeping my horizons broadened and understanding what all other people are doing and how they're making an impact in their communities.
The big read coming up Wednesday. Walk us through, what can folks expect? Congresswoman Alma Adams is going to be there. She's going to be reading to the kids. What can folks expect?
So she'll be at our Stephanie Jennings location on the east side around 10:30 and reading to the kids during read aloud time there. We'll also have readers across. We have 9 locations across the city, and so every classroom has a reader. At the 10:30 slot, and then our after school program has 4:30 and 5:30 slots for reading. So we'll have different folks coming to read to the kids that afternoon as well.
My last question: favorite part of the event? What are you most looking forward to?
The kids' reaction. That is always the best part. And watching folks that's not what they do on a daily basis, bring books and stories to life in front of little ones. And so the interaction is always awesome.
I bet their eyes get so big when they when they hear some of these stories.
Absolutely. On both sides.
Both sides, yeah. Jared Keaton, CEO of Alliance Center for Education, formerly the Bethlehem Center. Thank you for joining us. Again, the big READ event. Congresswoman Alma Adams is going to join the event READ to the Kids on Wednesday. Again, 10:30 to about 11 o'clock. I say about 11 o'clock because if you're having such a good time, you might want to. You're probably going to push that back to probably the lunchtime, right?
If we can.
If they can. Mr. Keaton, thank you for joining us here on Live Impact News.
Thank you so much, Nick, for having me.
Of course. Let's head to break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturtevant. So again, we mentioned earlier, expected launch date for Artemis 2 is this Wednesday. We want to get you back to that press conference that happened over the weekend where we heard from the Artemis 2 crew. Let's take a listen in.
You know mine. We know when we're tense. We know when an immediate decision needs to be made. But the biggest thing that we try to remind ourselves every single time we fly, we say, no fast hands in the cockpit. You do not want to do anything too quick in this vehicle. You need to take your time. You need to process everything. Almost always it pays bigger dividends to move forward than to go backwards. So no fast hands in the cockpit. We're going to go slow, and we have the ultimate trust in each other. And that's how we will get through this.
Our next question is from Ken Chang with the New York Times.
Hi, thank you. At the very top, Christina said it's beginning to feel real. For the first couple of sets of launch opportunities, you didn't even get down here. So I was wondering if you could sort of describe how you feel being quarantined at Kennedy, seeing a rocket on the launch pad, and the weather forecast looks good. It looks promising. Thank you.
It's great to be here. I think everyone in the crew office loves coming to Kennedy Space Center. It's kind of like, pilots love to be out at the airfield and see airplanes, and so a place where space missions start and some finish is a pretty special place. But it is also just neat to be here with this team that has really crushed it. The exploration ground systems, the folks that have gotten the vehicle ready and repaired the things that need fixing, and to watch them really maintain that schedule and to get that rocket into the VAB and back out to the pad. It's also good to be out here with them and to share some time with them. We spent a lot of time working with our team back in Houston, the flight control and engineering teams that have helped us analyze and proceduralize this mission. And so now it's cool to be out here with the team that's has been maintaining and preparing the rocket, and it's good to see it. And every day that we're here is the first time that we're doing this, and so we are exploring on this timeline as well, and it does feel good.
I want to add one thing. I want to add one quick thing to just remind everyone, this is a test flight. This is the first time we're going to try this. This is the first time we're loading humans on board, and I will tell you, the four of us, we are ready to go. The team is ready to go, and the vehicle is ready to go, but not for 1 second do we have an expectation that we are going. We will go when this vehicle tells us it's ready and when the team is ready to go. So we might go out to the pad and we might have to try again a few more times, and we are 100% ready for that.
Our next question is from Anthony Leone with Spectrum News.
Good morning. Thank you so much for taking our questions. There's so many firsts here for this mission. The first commander of a return manned mission to the moon, the first black man, the first woman, the first Canadian to visit the moon. What do these firsts mean to each of you?
It's a great question. It's one that we do think about it a lot. We always say that we are not doing this for the superlatives. We're doing this because it's a unique opportunity. We are going for all and by all. This is what NASA embodies. This is what the space program around the world embodies, and we are proud to be a part of that journey. I think what's neat to me about that question is each one of the four of us, we carry a whole lifetime of experiences and perspectives. And when you get us together and we're in a geology class looking at the moon, you really start to see those all come out. Like the way I was raised as a child is different than the way they were raised, the different influences on our lives, different mentors, different heroes, different interests, and all those differences start to come out in the way we view the science objectives of the mission, and they come out in the way we view the technical hardware. So honestly, for me, it's just an honor to get to watch the way everybody brings their unique perspectives.
It is a big question, and I want to highlight, I guess, maybe one facet of this is the tension, I call it. I live in this, this dichotomy between happiness that a young woman can look at Christina and just physicalize her passion or her interest, or even if it's not something she wants to do, she can just be like girl power, and that's awesome. And that young brown boys and girls can look at me and go, hey, he looks like me and he's doing what? And that's great. I love that. But I also hope we are pushing the other direction, that one day we don't have to talk about these first, that one day this is just, and I listen to this, that this is the human history. It's about human history. It's the story of humanity, not black history, not women's history, but that it becomes human history.
Everything I've heard from my crewmates really resonates. Thank you guys for those amazing words. Something to add is that although it is something to celebrate, a bunch of firsts, that's definitely not necessarily telling the whole story.
All right, so that is the Artemis II crew there speaking at a press conference from over the weekend. We want to come back out because we want to go to something live. So happening right now in Charlotte, the mayor and members of city council attending the opening of NCDOT's I-77 South Express Lanes Community Engagement Center. Let's take a listen into what's being said.
Center is a place where you can provide feedback and get direct access, information to staff and to the people who know the project best. We're proud to be a part of making this happen. We will be hosting listening sessions and continuing with community engagement throughout the community, but also having community engagement events here at the center and community-focused programs. So the center serves the community as a multifaceted resource. That is the goal. I want to acknowledge our elected officials who are here and our community leaders in the room. If you live in the corridor, please raise your hand to be recognized. Thank you. Thank you for being here and for your leadership. We're also honored to have the chair of the NCDOT board here with us today, Mr. Tony Lathrop. Thank you for being here. Who's an advocate for our community and for transportation. And of course, we're honored to have our distinguished mayor here with us today, who has been a steadfast champion for Charlotte, and it's my privilege to welcome her to the podium now.
Thank you, D'Alva. I appreciate that. I'm not quite sure. It's a little bit early, everybody. I don't see anybody just like going whoop, whoop at all. So let me go ahead and begin with this. I'm actually honored to be able to be in this space in this time. We have worked with a number of people, but I want to say this, what we're doing today and the information, and thank you for showing up to make sure that all of the people have an understanding of what's going on. But before I start talking about this building or this project, I want to talk about something that's much more important. Many of you are here. I know I saw Ricky over here. Always good, always good, always doing the right things for our community. And I want to say he is an example of the families along this corridor. We have connections to Brooklyn, a neighborhood that was vibrant, rooted, and full of life. And we lost it, not by choice, but by decisions that did not value the lives of people that built here. I was not here. You know, sometimes I like to claim to be a Charlottean first and foremost, but I was not that person this time for this event. And I won't pretend to understand the loss that was done, but I do want to acknowledge it. We ought to be talking clearly and publicly about history that matters. Now, the one thing I'm really proud of is my mother-in-law, who was a person of nursing and has the person of where our football stadium is. Those women worked in communities and they made it better for all of us. Brooklyn helped shape this part of Charlotte, and the families who came from there helped build the strength of this community today. And that is why history must be followed. This project must be done differently, with transparency, with real engagement, and most of all, respect. Now, I know that there are going to be questions and concerns about this project. And to anyone who feels uncertain, I want to say this. You deserve the answers for your questions and for your opportunities. You know, I do want to say, you don't need to be a flyer. You don't need to be someplace that we are not recording. We're doing all of these things to make it possible. We want people to know that there are questions and concerns about this project. And I want to say that you will have answers, real conversations. That is exactly why the center exists today. If you have questions about your street, your neighborhood, or your property, you can schedule a one-on-one meeting with a project engineer or a right-of-way specialist, face-to-face. No waiting, no run around, just real people sitting at real tables and expressing what they want to see and happen. This is really, really an important time for our city. Projects like this don't happen in a vacuum. They happen in neighborhoods, near homes, businesses, schools, and churches. They affect real people. And that is why the center will remain active throughout the life of the project, hosting evenings, sharing updates, and creating space for ongoing conversation. Because engagement is not a one-time event, it's an ongoing commitment from this community and the people that are working to make this possible. The City of Charlotte will stay engaged. We will listen, and we will work to ensure this project serves all of our communities with care and respect. I want to thank Secretary Johnson at NCDOT as well as Tony Lathrop, who've been with us the entire time as we start thinking about how do we recreate what's important for everyone. I want to say that to the Charlotte City Council members as well. Most importantly, I want to say thank you for those of you who showed up today, for staying involved and helping us shape the future of this great city and this great community. And so with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Ms. Del.
Thank you.
D'Alva.
Thank you, Mayor Lowes, and thank you to all of you for being here. Whether you came because of eager to learn more, because you are eager to learn more, because you have specific questions, or because you simply want to see the space for yourself, every one of you belongs here, and that's the whole point. This is a community center. The center is now open. Staff is here and are ready to talk with you. If you have a specific question about your neighborhood, your property, or the project in general, I encourage you to ask the questions, schedule one-on-one appointment with them, and a member of the team is happy to answer your questions. You'll see QR codes around the building in which you can use to schedule one-on-one appointments with them. And then also, you can walk in. You can walk in the space and also set up in-person appointments and virtual appointments for 30 minutes. So be sure to sign up and share with others in the neighborhood. An important note to leave with is that today NCDOT will release updated sketches of maps that show reduced impacts. These revised sketches will be online at 5 p.m. today, but they're available for you to preview on the screen. Please take a look, introduce yourself to the team, and come back often, as their resources here will continue to evolve. This community center is a little bit bare right now because we did rush to get it up in response to the community. By the end of the month, you'll see additional maps here, you'll see additional resources here that will be available for the center. But more importantly, there will be experts here for advisory on right-of-way, for relocation, small business events, and also classes to help the broader community, like Home Buying 101, financial literacy, and things that just help people in general. So please come back, take advantage, and we're very happy that you're here today. Thank you. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. Let's make it real this time, okay?
All right, so it looks like that press conference wrapped up with city council members. Also, we heard from Mayor Vilaus on NCDOT Community Engagement Center opening there regarding I-77 that happened there in West Charlotte. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back here in just 2 minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Welcome back here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Nick Sturtevant. Let's take a live look there. Cape Canaveral, Florida. We are preparing Wednesday for the Artemis II launch. That's the expected date there. So we heard from the crew over the weekend, answered questions there regarding their orbit around the moon. Let's get back to that press conference in case you missed it from over the weekend.
We are at a time when everyone who has a dream gets to work equally hard to achieve that dream. And we're at a time where we've recognized the importance of, if we are not going for all and by all, we aren't truly answering all of humanity's call to explore. That, to me, is what's worth celebrating.
There's so much here, and all of that really resonates deeply with me. Something maybe slightly different from my perspective is what you're seeing here is, yes, a Canadian is going to go into deep space. And that's an extraordinary thing because of the American space leadership that curated that. But I hope others outside of Canada feel part of this too, because this is just an acknowledgement of anybody who shows up and is able to contribute something meaningful to our future endeavors can be part of this mission. And so I hope the Commonwealth sees himself in this mission. I hope all the international partnerships see themselves flying on this mission, because they truly are. And it's just been an extraordinary journey for me. It's kind of broadened my perspectives as an astronaut too. I'm wearing a Canadian patch here that was designed by an Anishinaabe artist in Canada, and it just represents some of the beauty of Indigenous culture and their perspective on the moon and the 7 sacred laws, and just the richness of doing something together and how inviting that is. It's shocking to me, but pleasantly surprising how many people show up and are going on the mission with us. It's not just 3 Americans and a Canadian. It is people literally around the world, and it's a beautiful thing. And we're going to go do something very real, very challenging, and that's what will make it inspiring.
Our next question is from Will Robinson-Smith with Spaceflight Now.
Hello all, it's good to see you again. Going back to the point about preparation versus expectation, the TLI burn is really the big moment that sets you on the course towards the moon. But Christina, you mentioned that there may be the possibility for U-turn, return after that point. So I wonder, can you talk about what is truly the point of no return once you're heading towards the moon? When is the last moment that you can say, if there is an issue, we're going to, swing it on back to Earth, and what that actually entails? Thank you.
Great question.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. We do live in a world of preparation without expectation. We're ready to go. We're also ready to stay. And yes, that includes all the way even past TLI. There's a saying in the astronaut office that you can't say you're going to space until after MECO, main engine cutoff. For us, you can't say you're going to the moon until basically the mission's over. Well, there is actually a technical answer to your question, and it involves our spacesuits, because our suits are not only suits, they are survival systems. They have been designed to keep us alive in the case of a cabin leak for up to 144 hours, 6 days. And what that means is the entire mission, including our abort options, have also been designed around that 6-day mark. So as long as we can get back in 6 days, we can take an abort option, we could continue around the moon. So that's really, I think, the more technical answer to your question.
Our next question comes from Charlotte Cosett with AFP.
Hi, thank you so much for taking the time to answer questions. My question was about the final hours before launch. I wanted to know, how will you spend those hours before launch and the day itself? Do you have any personal or team rituals to help you stay focused or relaxed?
It is actually a very long day. We wake up about 8 hours before launch, and there's a pretty tight schedule of things to get out there, some of which you're going to see when we walk out of the Neil Armstrong Operations and Checkout Facility crew quarters and come out of that elevator that you've seen crews come out of for years. That's amazing to be here and to get to do that. But that day, it's because that schedule is so tight, you know, there is not a lot of time for like personal rituals, I would say, but before I fly an airplane, I generally say a very short prayer, and then I try to send my family a note to tell them that I love them. And so one of the neat things about this is a tradition we started is our families are outside the building when we walk out, and so that is the moment that I'm going to get to tell them I love them instead of sending a text message or a phone call. I get to tell them I love them, and then I'll still say my prayer before we all get into the vehicle, and then that way I can focus on that timeline and making sure that the launch control team is not waiting on us, the crew.
Our next question comes from Christopher Mick with Hudson Star Observer.
Good morning. Thank you for taking the question, and best of luck to all of you on this upcoming mission. I wanted to ask a little bit on a procedure during your training you've encountered that's been the most difficult to kind of simulate on your Earth-based simulators that you're kind of looking forward to or hoping to get some data back that'll be helpful on orbit or in space, to yourself and the future Artemis crews.
I think Christina will take the second half of this. One thing that we really have realized, I love this question. It actually got us thinking. But one thing that we have noticed is that as we go through all, this is a first flight, and not every procedure, to the best of our verification method, it's sound, it's 100% ready to go. We should be able to run that procedure without any misgivings. But we have found that this is a first flight, and basically every time we send a command to this vehicle, we take ownership of this vehicle, we have to think about what we are doing right now. So as we're running through these procedures, we have to be thinking at all times, every single step, what are we doing, what are we asking of the vehicle, and what is it telling us in response? And then we also have had to build a tremendous amount of communication and trust with our mission control team in Houston. 3 of us have flown on the International Space Station. We have operated with mission control for months, if not years of our lives. We know how this process works. But this mission in a small, highly dynamic spacecraft, it is different. And working through that process of how we're making decisions to move forward in this flight has been a really neat thing. And there's been give and take. There's been things that our flight directors, Jeff Radigan, Judd, and Rick, have given to us, and there have been things that we have given to them. And as we have built out this entire team, it just feels really good. We all know each other, and we're all ready to take on this challenge.
I'll throw out a couple salient examples of moments. I think the first that comes to mind is rendezvous and proximity operations, our test for that, our pod, we call it. And we've talked a lot about that, won't go into detail, but all of our simulators, we have ones that have very high fidelity volumetrically, we have ones that have very high fidelity flight software-wise, we have ones that have very high fidelity views out the window. We don't have a motion simulator, and I don't think even if we did, we could really know how the vehicle will respond. So that's one we got to test in space. Another that comes to mind is the flyby, looking at the moon. What will it actually look like through our eyes, through the windows of Orion? That is something we're all really looking forward to. And some of the other big ones are our life support systems. We will be venting the carbon dioxide that's removed from our breathing atmosphere inside the vehicle the entire mission. That was not done on Artemis 1, and it does have some effects on our navigation and guidance, so we'll have to get to space to really see how that affects the vehicle. And if I'm going to say a fourth, I'm going to go with the exercise device, because it is a very small spacecraft, and not all of us are very small. And when one person exercises in there, it will be very interesting to see how that affects the rest of the spacecraft, what we can do while that's going on. Does it keep our solar arrays safe enough with all that dynamic motion? There's a lot to learn there, and so many things are new. Those are kind of the big ones that none of our simulators can adequately address on the ground.
Hold on. Can I add one? Just one real quick thing too. We have a fantastic training team that has helped us to get to this point, but also I want to just put a plug in for training systems like simulators. One thing, it's not a procedure, but across all of the training, the ability to stop and restart a simulator or run it fast to get to a certain point, that has been something that has been a challenge, and something I think we're going to have to really push on and do better in the future missions. Okay.
Our next question comes from Jackie Waddles with CNN.
Hi,
Hi, folks. Thanks for doing this. Good to talk to you again. Quick question for Victor, a kind of follow-up on Irene's question. I understand, like, during these prox ops, you'll be evaluating the craft on the Cooper Harper rating scale. I'd love if you can tell us a little bit about what that is, and if you have an idea going into this of how you'll be rating the vehicle, or if you're expected to be surprised. And then since you'll all be involved in prox ops, I also wanted to ask, I think I understand this correctly, that there won't be rangefinders, so you'll be doing some kind of analog calculations here. I'd love to just hear a little bit about how you guys are going to coordinate on that and what you're expecting.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Christina reminded me we don't have a whole lot of time because I love talking about this. So we will be using the modified Cooper-Harper scale. Cooper and Harper wrote this report about how to evaluate aircraft, and it's a great report. It's actually not super long, so you may want to reference that to get some of the points out. But, you know, you get a number out of it. It's a scale that starts with is the situation controllable, and then you go through, is it adequate and suitable? Do you get just the minimum performance, or do you get the desired performance? And it's essentially a scale. The lower the number, 1 is better, and 9 is not good, not controllable. And the pilot comments, the things that the people say, are the other data. So you get a number and then the comments from the crew. And that's why I think it's really important, even though I'll be a hot mic, I think all 4 of us making comments about what we see, hear, feel, because it's an integrated system, is going to be one very important part. And you touched on something that's very important, and I think is a huge statement of trust from the agency to this crew, is we will not have a range finder. There's no data that tells us the range between us and ICPS. We will be using subtended angles, how big the upper stage looks out the window or through a camera. And so we are the primary hazard avoidance system, these eyes and our assessment of how close we are. And we've been training for that for years. Actually, before we started official training, we were doing human-in-the-loop tests for this demo, and so we've been able to get lots of practice doing that.
Sometimes the simplest stuff is the best.
Our next question is from Joey Roulette with Reuters.
Hey, thanks guys for doing this. Victor, I'm really fascinated by that description you just gave right there, and I had a quick follow-up. Like, can you just explain why it's so important for crews to get into manual controls for these types of spacecraft, kind of in an age where everything's automated these days? And then for the whole crew, real quick, I just had a broader question that you guys have probably been asked a billion times, but why is the U.S. going back to the moon, and why, as folks in D.C. will say, why is it important for the U.S. to get there first before other countries? Thanks.
Yes, I'll take the easy flying question and then pass it on to my awesome crewmates. So, I'll put it in terms of, something we're seeing around the metroplexes around the country, these automated taxis and self-driving vehicle services. You see, before they're allowed to operate autonomously, they have a driver sitting in the front seat. And sometimes they're just a safety observer. They're there to make sure that the thing doesn't go off the rails, or, take the construction and just decide that it's going to divide by 0 and plow through the intersection or something, or that it can actually distinguish red and green and stop when it's supposed to stop and go when it's supposed to go. It's kind of like that. We want the automated systems to work, but we also want a crew to be able to jump in into, you're not always going to manually dock, but you may need to manually stop a docking that is not going well and be able to get to a safe, holding point. And so we want to make sure that this system is ready and it can control the vehicle the way we expect it to, so that we can be comfortable letting an automated docking happen on the future more complex missions, and that if something does go wrong, I mean, if you study software statistics, you'll see that automation is not always the answer. It is fallible, just like humans are, in different ways. And so we need to be able to interrupt. Even if we don't do the operation by hand, we need to be able to stop it safely, and that's one of the things that we're testing, is that we can back away from the upper stage in the way that we predicted. Nice.
I can get started, but I think we should answer a little bit. The question about the why of this mission, there are so many different ways that you can answer that. There's the industrial benefits, there's the commercial benefits, scientific, technology, innovation, inspiration, and I hope that we talk a little bit about those as a crew. I'll also just mention that high level, really the question is, not should we go, but should we lead or should we follow? That's how I see it, because everyone, many countries have recognized the value that there is in exploring further into the solar system, to the moon and onto Mars. They've recognized that not only can we gain all these extremely tangible benefits, but that we have the opportunity to answer the question that could be the question of our lifetime, which is, are we alone? When we go out and meet people, people ask that all the time. Have you seen evidence of this? What can we learn? And the fact is that answering that question starts at the moon. The moon is a witness plate to our entire solar system's formation. It's a stepping stone to Mars, where we might have the most likelihood of finding evidence of past life, but it's also a Rosetta Stone for how other solar systems form. All the billions of other solar systems in our galaxy, where we've seen from some of our other telescopes like Kepler that there are planets orbiting other suns. All of this starts to unlock when you go to the moon, and for me, that's one of the most important scientific reasons to go.
And we don't have to answer right now. Christina, that was amazing. I guess I'll just add the only thing that kept coming to my mind there, and let me see if I can relate it back. Maybe this will be a swing and a miss, but we just ate breakfast together. We were laughing most of the time. I was actually crying, and one of the jokes is just so funny. But I brought a little map of Antarctica to breakfast this morning, and I just put it out on the table, and one of us has been there. One of us has wintered over at the South Pole. Christina has. And I've never been to Antarctica. And just sitting there at breakfast for just 5 minutes, listening to her talk about her experiences when she stands at the South Pole of planet Earth. It's just white all the way around. As far as it's just white, perfectly white, because there's no mountain to block your view. There's just white that reaches out to the horizon. And then she was talking about how she would go down to McMurdo Station for resupply ships and setting up science experiments. And all of a sudden, I was imagining being there. I was imagining seeing what she was seeing. I was imagining feeling the cold, feeling the sun, seeing all the different views that she was seeing. And the only reason all that was unlocked is because I was talking to someone who had been there. And I think at the end of the day, we have got humanity's call is to go explore and to go do these things and then to share them with the world and to motivate. We might motivate 10 kids to go do something great. We might motivate 1 kid to go do something great. And that's a success to me.
That landed.
Thanks.
Our next question is from Ryan Catton with NASAspaceflight.com.
Hey everyone, thanks for your time. I know it's busy as we get to the pointy end of the count here, but I'm really interested to see if any of you have any, talking to the geology earlier on, if any of you have any specific features of the moon which you're most excited or most technically interested to spot out of the windows, or anything you're especially looking out for, or is it just, the entire moon? I suppose it is the entire moon, but thanks.
You're up.
I'll start if anyone wants to add. There's what's interesting about this launch window is depending on which day we launch, it really changes what we're going to see on the far side of the moon. In the early parts of this window, we're going to see an eclipse. So we'll see the sun go behind the moon. And this is something new that we just started learning about last week. How the scientists are amazing. The plan changes and they're like, okay, we thought we were going to go do this, but maybe we can do something else. And right away they came up with some instruction for us on how we can leverage this opportunity to look for things that they're interested on the moon, like lofting of dust is something that was observed by a couple of astronauts during Apollo, but there's no real documentation of it. And so this transport of lunar regolith around the moon is very interesting. Does it have to do with magnetic fields, or what is causing this? And so this provides an interesting opportunity to look at that, and also to look at the corona of the sun in a different way. And so we have been brushing up on how we're going to leverage this opportunity. There's a very short window, so that's pretty neat. As we come around the far side of the moon, no matter when we launch in this period, we will see part of the far side of the moon. And so Oriental is just this huge crater on the far side of the moon. I just learned last week, I didn't know this, you can see the edge of it from Earth. When the moon kind of rotates around a little bit in its orbit, it's tidally locked to the Earth, but you do see different sides of the moon a little bit more at certain times of the year. And so with telescopes, you can see the edge of this crater, but no one has ever seen this full crater on the far side of the moon. And so this would be really neat. I'm kind of excited to have a look at it. It's just enormous, super complex, and you could stare at it probably for hours.
There's a report that one of the astronauts that went to the moon in the Apollo program wrote, Jack Schmidt, that he said about 3,000 miles is where you start to pick up the color, and then as you leave and go back beyond 3,000 miles, you start to lose the color. And so the scientists really are excited about getting these, 4 sets of human eyes, the best cameras in the universe, close to the moon. And so not any one specific thing, but just to be able to observe the moon and cosmic phenomena with human eyes up close, and to see things like the lunar regolith. We think of it as monochrome, or black and white or gray, and there's olivine, which is green, and pyroxene, which is gray or brown. And so we can get close to see some of those minerals in the regolith up there that add color, and that is one of the things that I'm really looking forward to, is being closer and seeing some of that detail.
I think the only thing I want to add very briefly is we think, I know I did when we started training for this mission, that we've been to the moon. Apollo was at the moon. They've seen the whole far side of the moon. But actually, it turns out there's about 60% of the far side, I think, that has never been seen by human eyes because of the lighting conditions. Apollo always wanted that light on the front side of the moon for their landing and launch capabilities. So as Jeremy said, when we see Oriental, the human eyes have never seen that. Never seen that. We've seen it in satellite photos, but humans have never, ever seen that before. That's cool.
Our next question is from TJ Mascaro with the Epoch Times.
Good morning. Thank you so much for taking the time. Going back to preparations and expectations, the International Space Station has its entire life been about preparing humanity to go back to the moon and onto Mars and beyond. But it was always someday. Now it seems that someday is finally going to come. And so I was just wondering if you guys have felt any greater sense of immediate correlation between the work you did on station and now, and specifically if you could say any specific example of what you did during your missions on the space station that has come up and that you've kind of referenced during your training. And Jeremy, I know you haven't been there yourself, but maybe if there's anything that you witnessed while you were Capcom.
I kind of tuned out because I thought I wasn't going to have to answer this one, so maybe I'll go last.
We see the signs. As soon as you highlighted the International Space Station, I hope we all smiled. You see the signs of it everywhere. That is the platform that we have lived and worked on, and that is really our training base for the last several decades, 25 plus years, to get us venturing deeper into space, and now the time has come. I want to highlight, just in the last few weeks, the administrator has announced plans for a moon base and has kind of reshuffled a little bit the Artemis architecture, and what that did is that fired us up. That gave us a lot of hope. We just changed our schedule last week to meet with our training team and the astronaut office to go through all the things that we want to feed forward into Artemis 3, training nuances, because all of a sudden the tempo has picked up and we are fired up. We're ready to go. We're ready to help that team. Our motto from day one has been help Artemis 3 succeed, and really we're getting ready to see that. The toilet on board Orion is on the International Space Station. A lot of our suit parts have been tested on the International Space Station. Our CO2 scrubbing, the amine swing beds have all been tested on the International Space Station. So that system has been a great test bed for us moving forward, and all of us have had our hands on those. We have Capcom'd. All of us are capsule communicators communicating with the crew on the International Space Station, and I was actually texting Jessica Meir this morning. She wrote back. She's really excited to talk to us on the loop. She's up on the International Space Station right now. So I feel like sometimes we think of the space station as really far away, and it is kind of unique that for us, we feel like the space station is just our friends up there, and it's a place that we've lived and worked, and it does not feel that far away for us. So it's really cool to highlight the great work of the International Space Station.
Okay, our next question is from Alexis Arango with WTMO.
Hi, question. What excites you most about NASA's vision for the sustained presence on the moon, and how does it feel to know that you are helping lay the foundation for everything that comes next?
I feel like I'm talking too much. There's one of my favorite inscriptions in the U.S. Capitol is inscribed in some wood in one of the subcommittee rooms, and it says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." And I think about that all the time. And sometimes you need solid technical foundations. You need companies like Blue Origin, SpaceX. You need Lockheed, Boeing. All these companies are out there right now doing amazing things, and we have a lot of smaller companies that are successfully landing on the surface of the moon, and that is all going to pick up. At the end of the day, it takes courageous leadership to go and set a vision, a bold vision. Kennedy did it in the 60s, and we reaped huge rewards, and we feel like we're at the cusp of this happening again on an international stage. And so I think, to me, that's the thing. That's the thing that feels right now, is there is a vision, and it is a workable vision. We have the budget, we have the capability, and right now, for the first time in human history, we have a diverse industrial base around this world that can actually enact and enable this mission and turn these dreams into reality.
I'll add something too that really resonates with me, and that is, when you have a program, you have to be willing to adapt when you learn new things. And so it's, when you make a change, it's not that something before was wrong or that we failed. It's just like in your own life. You have to be willing to learn and adapt and then take what you have in that moment. And so I feel like often people interpret the change as something was broken or it's failed. No, I mean, we've been training the system, all these companies that have been working on this, they've learned so much. It's like an apprenticeship program, and we've learned a few things, and now we're going to adapt and we're going to move forward. And all around the world, everyone who's part of this program has the opportunity to adapt and lean into it and just do the very best we can, which is super exciting. This is the stuff that fires us up, is to imagine like being in that era of the Mercury, Gemini, Apollo. When you look at the timelines of what they did, man, that's what we're capable of. And we're at a period right now where we can just lean into that and go after it. That's super powerful. And we're happy to do our small part, our small drop in the bucket, and then hand the baton on when we get back.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that I'm very excited about the vision. All the things that you've heard, I 100% sign on to that. And I just want to say that I'm most excited about the leadership that is carrying that vision and sharing that vision. You know, our leader, Jared, Amit, we've got fantastic leadership at our center, Vanessa, the team that is making that vision a reality, all the way down to our flight operations team in Houston and the trainers. The people that are making that vision a reality are also equally inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
And our final question today is from Brandy Campbell with Fox Weather.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for answering all of these questions. I just wanted to ask you guys what your mindset has been like since you arrived to Florida, knowing that the launch is coming in a few days. I just can't imagine being in your position and knowing what's ahead of me. So can you guys just share what's been going through your minds?
All four of us.
I think all four of us will answer, especially since this is the last question. This is an amazing place to be. I wish we could just walk the halls together here in the crew quarters. The folks in the kitchen that are cooking for us, their shirts are just covered in patches of previous missions. When you walk down the halls of this facility, you see names in foreign languages. You can just think about the different places that they were born, the lives they have lived, and the legacy that we're a part of. It is a really very special place. This is where humanity began reaching for the stars. And Christina and I have both launched from Russia, from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. So we just feel that huge international partnership. You really feel it when you're here. You can look around at the history and the legacy of it. And then it is surreal to jump in your car and drive out to Launchpad 39B and see this massive vehicle sitting there on the pad that has legacy all on its own. 39A and B, that's where we flew Apollo. That's where we flew shuttle. Our vehicle has parts that were flown on the space shuttle that have been reused, that have been repurposed. Our engines flew on space shuttles. Our booster segments have been reloaded and flew on space shuttles and were recovered. So it is, in a way, it's a glimpse into the past. And then when you see this vehicle on the pad, you know, you look at the size of this vehicle and you know it's going one place. It is going to space, and it is going to go there in a hurry when those engines light. This thing is moving out. So it's surreal. I almost want to say, though, I just feel relaxed. It's good to be here. We've trained for this, and we're ready to go. Mike?
the two things that I feel are legacy, which Reed just really captured, so I won't even go more into that. But I will say the other one is just space or gray space, or protecting that relaxation, that head space. My family arrived yesterday, and so now I'm not gonna sit in my room and just study. I'm actually going to just clear my head space so that we're ready on launch day for that 10-day sprint. And it's about protecting that, I think, and also the spending time with each other. Like Reed mentioned this morning at breakfast, we had fun, and so for me, it's just protecting that emotional headspace.
Yeah. I feel a lot of what's been shared already, and something that has come to mind several times being here at Kennedy and actually living here prior to a launch is the time that I came here with my family when I was around 10 or 11, and I often cite that trip as what cemented my interest in the space program. I came home with a couple posters from the gift shop, and it had been a dream of mine ever since. So that's something I reflect on a personal level. Professionally, it is just about one foot in front of the other for me. I think of it as a train. We are on the train right now. The system is going to get us all the way into that capsule and is going to get us launched and out to space. And our job is just to do what we've been trained for and let the training take over. So just remembering that we're here to fulfill that mission, that is what contributes to what they say. And I've found it to be true. The astronauts are the calmest people on launch day. And I feel that within our group ever since we've gotten here.
Something that's been crossing my mind, my parents, I know they arrived here last night. I won't see them until we get our behind the glass visit, obviously, because we're in quarantine, but as well as launch guests. So we've all got family and friends that are coming in, and then lots of people are just coming to watch. And something that's really neat is, that I love about this place, is the Atlantis display, the Space Shuttle Atlantis. It's just extraordinary. So people that have the opportunity and the time to get over there and go have a look at that, it is just truly marvelous to see. And a special place for me as a Canadian to see the real Canadarm1, and it just reminds me of what you were talking about, vision of that we've had over decades that brought us to this point.
All right, so that is the Artemis 2 crew there speaking over the weekend there in Cape Canaveral. Artemis 2, man, Wednesday is the expected launch date there. That's a live camera there from Cape Canaveral, Florida. And stick with us here on WCNC Plus. I'm sorry for the loud animation. Artemis 2 coverage. Return to the Moon, hosted by Brad Panovich and Betsy Kling there. You don't want to miss it. Some great coverage there. And thank you for joining us here this morning on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. A lot happening throughout the morning. Charlotte Today is coming up next, followed by midday. And then we're back here. I'm back with you here this afternoon, starting at 12:30 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Have a great morning.